Hello guys. How are you all doing? Today, I will be discussing about the precedence levels in JavaScript, along with the operations within real-time examples. This video is about 2 hours long. So, I request you to make the time for 2 hours and watch the video. This video will be with completely real-world examples. So, it will be interesting for you to listen and to understand. So, take the notes and start writing the running notes. Don't even skip the video for a second. You will lose the concept if you do. So, coming into the concept, the first thing we need to know is what is meant by operator precedence. Coming into the definition, operator precedence are used to determine how operators are parsed concerning each other. Operators with higher precedence become the operands of operators with lower precedence. There are 18 precedence levels in operators, where the higher value numbers has the higher precedence levels. It helps to understand in which way the operation starts in the first place. Coming to the 18th and highest precedence level concept, which is grouping operator. To know the better, the grouping operator controls the precedence of evaluation in expressions. It also acts as a container for arbitrary expressions in certain syntactic constructs where ambiguity or syntax errors would otherwise occur. Yeah, I know this sounds terrible. So, don't worry, I have an example for you. Let's dive into the example. So, I will take a regular mathematic expression with addition and multiplication in the first place. Okay, if I just save the file, the answer will be 7. Why the answer is 7, why not 9? That's because multiplication has the higher precedence than the addition. So, the multiplication will perform in the first place. If you haven't satisfied with the output and you want the addition to be performed in this first place, at this situation, grouping operator comes into the action. Here is the way of writing the code to get the output as required. Okay, so here is the explanation for the code. The grouping will be done with the help of brackets in JS. The expression which is in brackets will be executed first. So 1 and 2 will be added first and then the solution will multiply with 3. So the output will be 9. This is how we use grouping operator. The next level of precedence will be the access and call function. In access and call function, there are 6 major subdivisions, in which 2 of them follows left to right associativity rule. The types in the access and call function are 1. Member access, 2. Optional chaining, 3. Computed memory access, 4. New with argument list, 5. Function call, 6. Import. So, what is meant by the member access? Member access will also be called as property accessors. Property accessors provide access to objects' properties by using the dot notation or the bracket notation. The associativity rule for this member access will be from left to right. So, I will start this with dot notation by taking an example. For writing the example, I am going to take an empty object for a person. And in this I am going to declare the first name and last name of the person. First name will be as Brainy and the last name will be Voyage. While writing the variables in the objects in dot notation, we will enclose the variables within the square brackets and within quotes. We assign the values to the variables by using the assignment operator, which is just a single equals to symbol. Here the first name is in variable in the object. Or we can just say that first name acts as a key to the value. The value is assigned to the variable by using the single equals to operator. In this, the Brainy is a value, which is assigned to the variable called first name in the object. And in the same way, we assign the value to the second name, with the Voyage as the value. This is how we declare the dot notation for the objects. So, to console log the object values, we should use the object name first. And then we should include the key or variable name by joining the both object name and variable name with a dot. So, if I just save the file, then I should get Brainy in the console. And we got the output as expected. That's because I have access to value with the help of the object name and by using the property name. Write down this concept. This is the most important concept for technical rounds. Now, I will tell you how to write the bracket notation for the objects with an example. The bracket notation and dot notation are used for the same purpose, but they have the different functionalities. The bracket notations are the example for computed memory access. So, I am going to take the same example, just with a different object name. I will take the object name as the person2, and I am going to pass the same values that I have passed in the person1 object. But in here the representation methodology, or we can say that the way of representing is different from the first object. We represent them in the way of key-value pairs. We will place the variable names to the left side and the values to the right side. And we separate them with the colon. And we place the comma separator at the end of each value. Okay, so now I want to log the last name value into the console. We can log the values as we have done it in the previous scenario. And we will get the output as voyage into the console. But what is the difference between the both cases? So, we can also log these values into the console by using the bracket notation and without the dot in between those parameters. But the variable name will be enclosed within the square brackets and within the quotes. Even after this output should remain same in the console. And it did, the output remains same in the console. Is this topic clear up to now? If not, the comment session is open for you. If you want to join in the live session with me, then you should join our WhatsApp group channel for the live session links and the preparation materials. The live sessions will be held on twice for the week. So, you can get your doubts clarified for free. Okay, so, now we will move into the another concept, which is optional chaining. The representation of the optional chaining will be a question mark followed by a dot. So, what is meant by optional chaining? The optional chaining operator accesses an object's property or calls a function. If the object accessed or function called using this operator is undefined or null, then the expression short circuits and evaluates to undefined instead of throwing an error. Okay, so, to prove this, the function should return null or undefined. Let's write a function for that case. Here, I am going to take the adventure object and I am going to insert first name, and I will create another object inside of the adventure object to store the values of the pet. Sorry, my mistake. I have placed the equals to operator in place of a colon. Here, I will make another object for a cat inside of the adventure object, and I will pass the name of the cat inside of the cat object. I will pass the name of the cat as Lee. Okay, so I have created the function. Now, I will create another constant variable for the dog variables, and I will assign the values of the cat object from the adventure object by using the optional chaining operator. Just to verify, first I will pass the cat name into the dog name variable. If the value returns successfully, I will replace the values to undefined. So, now just let me log the value of the dog name into the console. My bad. Let me correct the variable name I passed in the console log statement. Okay, after saving the file, I got the value as Lee into the console. So, the program is just working fine. Now, I will just replace it with the undefined variable name in the same function. Okay, so, after saving the file, I got undefined as the output into the console. So, I think you understood the purpose of the optional chaining in functions. The next concept is about the computed memory access. I have explained this topic while we are discussing about the bracket notations in this session. This example is similar to the memory access example. So, I am just moving forward to the function call operator. Generally, what is meant by a function? Function is defined as the building blocks of code, right? Same definition applies here in the JavaScript. Just for the information, the functions don't have the associativity rule. To get more idea, I will write a code to evaluate perform the square operation. So, I will take square as the function name, and I am going to pass the number parameter to the function. And I want to perform the multiplication and return the value to the where the function is called. So, I am writing this return function to perform the multiplication and to return the value to where the function is called. Note, writing the function without calling it is just like the person is ready to run, but he never runs. That's because he didn't get a signal to run. So, he just waits forever there. So, I will call the function within the console statement and I need to pass the parameter value to the function. Okay, my bad. I have passed the wrong function name here. Let me correct it and rerun the file. Okay, so I got the value as 4 into the console. So, the function worked correctly. This is just a very small example of the functions. But in the future, we just simply live in the functions. Okay, the next topic will be about the import syntax. There is nothing to know more about this concept now. When we are doing the projects, we will encounter this import syntax. Just to know, we can say that the import syntax, commonly called dynamic import, it is a function-like expression that allows loading an ECMAScript module asynchronously and dynamically into a potentially non-module environment. Note, unlike the declaration-style counterpart, dynamic imports are only evaluated when needed and permit greater syntactic flexibility. Okay, so the next topic is about the new operator. The new operator lets developers to create an instance of a user-defined object type or of one of the built-in object types that has a constructor function. We will discuss about this in depth in the further sessions. Just to get a basic understanding, I will take an example and I will explain the topic. To do that, I will take a function and I am going to create an object by taking the cars as the object name. In this, I am going to pass the three parameters. One is make, another one is model, and the final one is the year. I am passing the parameters with the help of this keyword. Don't worry about this keyword. We will talk about later in our course. Just try to understand the working of the program. As I have already said, don't worry about this keyword right now. Here, I am going to create an instance for the object we have created. As I said, new keyword is used to create an instance for the user-defined objects or for the built-in functions. I will take some example values and pass them into the object, so I can access them in the future. The values will be Eagle, TSI, and 1993. So, if I need the values of the make key, I can just use the dot function to log the values into the console. So, I will log the values of the make key from in-car object. For this, I will get Eagle in the console. I think you got a rough idea about the new keyword. Now, I am going to discuss about the postfix operator. In this, we have postfix increment and postfix decrement. The associativity rule is not applicable for this postfix operator and prefix operator. So, what do you think about the postfix increment and postfix decrement? If you know this, comment down the tricks you know about these. I will explain these two with an example. So, I am going to take some values with x and y variables, and I am going to perform postfix increment. Postfix increment means that the value will be incremented by 1 after using the value. I know it is confusing, just wait a bit. So, here after the x, I place two addition symbols. This is how we implement postfix increment. To get the clarity, I will console log the values after the increment and before the increment. See, in the console we got the values as 10 and 11. So, after console log of the initial value, we increment the variable x, so we got the output as 11. This is just similar to the 10 plus 1, which will be equal to the 11. To increase the efficiency of the code, we will use this operators. You can even do the same for the y variable, and the result will be in the same sequence. This example will prove that value of the y is added after the usage, not while we are using it. That's the reason we got 20 in the first place and 21 in the next place. The postfix decrement works exactly as the postfix increment, but here the value will be decrement by 1. Here's an example for the postfix decrement. So, I think you got an idea about the postfix increment and postfix decrement. If yes, we will continue with the prefix increment and prefix decrement, which comes into the 14th precedence level in the JavaScript. Similarly, in the prefix operators, we have prefix increment and prefix decrement. The values here will increment or decrement by 1 before we are using it. Here's an example code snippet for the understanding of the concept. Try to understand the example code snippets I have given here. Don't worry, I skipped the video just because of the timings. We also have logical not operator in this prefix operators. Logical not operator is used to get the opposite answer in the console. For example, if the output is false, it gives the output as true. And if the answer is true, it will give false as the output. Here is the example of how it is done. Let's just check if both the x and y values are equal to each other or not, with just a simple console log statement. So, at first we get the value as false. That's because 8 and 23 are not equal. So, If I use the logical not operator, I should get true as the output. So, I will put an exclamation mark in front of the condition. See, I got the true as output. This is how we write the logical not operator. If you have any doubts regarding this, contact me in the WhatsApp. That's for the day. We will reach back in the next video. Thank you for watching the video. Please leave a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.